everyone, it's Casey with Our Country Designs. Today for our 7-day craft challenge, we are going to be doing glass etching. So unfortunately it's like really hard to see, but if you can, I put a black piece of vinyl in here. So this is a vase we etched. So you can see I was able to pick the design, which is pretty cool. I got some hearts here on the back, a little bit easier to see. But this is what it is, so it's a vase. I was able to pick out whatever design I wanted with using our cutting machine that we use for all of our wood stencils. So we were able to, this one is kind of a lovey-dovey themed. It says you have my whole heart for my whole life. All right, so it's kind of Valentine's fun themed. But we just make the same exact type stencils that we do for our wood signs. It's the same material and everything, and then we use it on a smaller scale to make these. So I'm going to show you the exact same thing, same stencil, same wording on another vase. So what you're going to need for this project is I cleaned it. If you have rubbing alcohol, I didn't have any rubbing alcohol, so I used denatured alcohol to just clean the surface. It helps get all the grime off of your vase. And I'm going to just pop this down a little bit. It's pretty messy out here in the garage, but this stuff is considered kind of toxic, so we don't want to use it inside. So that you need that. You need gloves. Like I said, it's a toxic thing. We don't want you guys using this doing this without gloves. You need your glass piece. Now this doesn't have to be a vase. Be open-minded. You can do a lot of different things. Wine glasses, beer mugs, really whatever is kind of a nice glass surface. I've seen Pyrex, like a casserole dish, and people will put like somebody's last name in the bottom of it or something like that. Those are really cool too. Then you'll need your stencils. So here are the two stencils, again, same ones that are on the other one. A foam brush, and this is what you're gonna apply the cream with. One of these squeegees are gonna help you make sure you get the stencil down nice and good onto your surface. And then the product that we're using is called Armor Etch. Okay, so Armor Etch is considered toxic. It can cause severe burns to the skin. So you want to be sure that you wear gloves. I can't stress that enough. Please don't do this project without wearing gloves. And doing it in a place where if it were to get onto, like, you know, inside we have, I think our counters are laminate, or our brand new farmhouse table. Sean would be very happy if I got this on there because it would start eating away the finish, okay? So that's why I'm out here doing it in our dirty garage. So the other thing I've read on a couple sites with this stuff is that because you rinse it off after it sits for a while, you don't want to rinse it off in a stainless steel sink, okay? Because it will, again, eat the finish off of your stainless steel sink. So again, that's why we're out here as well, because I got the slop sink in the corner that I'll wash it off, and we don't care about that getting damaged. Okay, so let's get started. Oh, and you need some tape, okay? So the very first thing you're gonna do, like I said, which I already did, is you're gonna take rubbing alcohol and you're gonna kind of clean the surface, okay? You wanna make sure that all the smudge marks are gone, no fingerprints, anything like that, so that your stencil adheres well and so that the cream sits good on the surface when it starts the etching process, okay? So, I'm kind of set it up like this. So our stencils are kind of a 3-layered stencil. Where is my little thing? I'm gonna just squeegee it down a little bit. It's a little cold out here in the garage. All right. So you're gonna pull your stencil apart. We have, this is Oracle 631. So it's a semi-permanent type of vinyl. It's the same ones we use for our wood signs. The 651 Oracle vinyl is permanent vinyl. Those are used for making car decals or window decals. So this one just makes it a little bit easier for it to come off. Sometimes you'll see wine glasses where the vinyl is stuck on in reverse, where people just put the lettering with the vinyl. That's the 651 because it's gonna adhere and be more permanent. It'll stay on better. So there's a lot of little details in this design I chose, which I think is a really cool thing because I did the big heart and then I did kind of this finer design, and both of them turned out really good on the sample that we did. Which is good because when you have something that isn't quite as big as the vase, you're not going to, it's going to be a finer details to the design, so you got to be careful with that. I'm going to see, I don't know how well you guys can see this because the glass is so see-through, but so this is basically turned into a sticker now since I took the back off. So I'm going to position it and lay it down. And then you're going to take your squeegee and just rub it down a little bit better. And then I'm going to do the reverse side, which was previously clean, but obviously since I just put it on the dirty table, it's not the cleanest, but it'll still work. And then you're going to do the same here. This one will come off a little bit easier because it's a more simple design. All right, and we're gonna place the hearts. You gotta be careful when you put it down and be pretty sure where you want it before you stick it down. It's not very forgiving. Once it's stuck, it's kind of stuck and it's hard to pull it back. Even if one little corner gets stuck, it gets difficult to get it off. So then there's still this top white transfer tape that it's called that we have to take off. And that just leaves us with the stencil, okay? And we gotta do the same with this other side. All right, now if you were to have any bubbling, like inside or right on the edge of the stencil, you would wanna be sure that you get rid of all of that bubbling, okay? You wanna have really a nice adhesion between the edges of the letters and your glass because the cream will seep under it otherwise. Okay, so you want to make sure that's a good clean adhesion. And then I'm going to take some painter's tape. You could use masking tape or whatever you have around. And I'm going to tape along the edges because once I put the cream on there, I want to make sure that I don't get the cream where I don't want the cream. So this is just there to kind of protect the surface a little bit better. Now what I love about these projects is that you can really do whatever you want with it. If you don't have a machine to be able to make your own stencils, I know Martha Stewart has sticky stencils. They're gonna be smaller, but I think they're more designed for this exact type of thing. At most craft stores carry Martha Stewart's brand of stuff. And those you can kind of piece together into different designs. It is more limiting because you can't just create whatever you want, but it still gives you options. If you're ever interested in any of our designs that we have, but you obviously want to do it for something like this as opposed to a wood sign and you want a smaller version of it, just let us know. We'd be happy to make you a smaller version so that you can experiment with something like this. So it's a lot of tape, but it's going to keep our surface nice and protected. I think one of the next projects I'll try with glass etching is going to be doing a Pyrex. I think that'll look really cool, doing a Pyrex casserole dish, and then you put like your last name on it. It works really good for like, if you guys ever do potlucks or anything, you can make sure you always get your Pyrex casserole dishes back. Or Anchor. I guess we shouldn't be brand specific. It doesn't have to be Pyrex. All right, so then we take our armor etch and we want to stir it, but we got to put our gloves on first. Remember, this is a highly toxic chemical. If it can etch glass, just think of what it can do to your skin. And then I'm gonna stir it up a little bit. That's what the directions recommend. Now, my Armor Etch is from 2013. I bought it when we were getting married and used it on a couple things and haven't touched it since. I do believe that it's not quite as creamy as what it normally is. It's still pretty thick and creamy, but it's kind of runny when you put it on, and it's starting to crystallize, which I don't remember it crystallizing way back when I first did these projects. You can see I just did another project. See those little chunks on there? That's it crystallizing. So I don't know if that's from the glass etch material or the cream getting old, or if that is just how it is. I'll have to buy a new container of it to remember if that's just part of the process here or not. All right, so I'm gonna take and put this down here to hold our spot. And you're just gonna take and put a good amount of the cream on. And you wanna try to do it as even as you can. I'm trying not to be wasteful, so I'm trying to get as much off this little stick. So you wanna be putting it on evenly and thick. And again, I get these little crystals in there and I just try to get them out of the actual lines. If they're on the black part of the stencil, I don't really care. I just don't want them where the glass will be etching. Now in regards to letting it sit after we get this on here, I have read so many different articles on this. I've watched so many different videos, and every single person recommends something different. I've seen anywhere from 1 minute to 5 minutes to 15 minutes to 45 plus minutes. We're gonna squeeze onto the other side here. The one that I did with the sample, I did for about 15-20 minutes, and I think that worked out really good. You just want to be sure you give it enough time to really work into the glass. If you take it off too early, it's just going to be much more faint. But I don't know, I haven't found anything that necessarily says the longer the better, but people are concerned that if you do it too short of a time, you're just not going to get a good etching. So again, you want to make sure it's kind of a nice and smooth surface. Make sure you don't miss any spots. If you miss something, it's not going to etch. So you've got to get all of those spots covered. All right, so it looks pretty good. When you see a lot of other videos, it's significantly more creamy than this is. This is really watered down, so I don't know if it's from getting old, like I said, or what the case is. So I'll have to buy another container. So I got this at Hobby Lobby for $8.99 in 2013. Okay? All right, so since I'm not gonna make you guys sit here and wait 15 minutes, I did 2 other designs ahead of time. So I got like a beer mug, dollar store, and this little wine glass without a stem at the dollar store as well, or a cocktail glass. And this one, I haven't done it in color, but this is actually a blue glass, so I was interested to see how that would turn out. Both of the vases are also from the dollar store. Okay, so these are cheap crafts to do, which I'm a big fan of. I love cheap crafting, especially when you're kind of experimenting with things. It's hard to justify a cost if you're potentially going to just ruin it. All right, so I'm gonna try to get us over to the sink. All right, so we are gonna hop over to the sink with these 2 that have been sitting here a little bit longer. You can see our dirty sink here. Okay, so I'm gonna start with a big mug, and you're just gonna wash it right off, and you're gonna keep your gloves on because you're gonna be rubbing it. You're gonna kind of rub the stuff off. Hopefully I let it sit long enough. I did it right before this video started, and I don't know how long I've been talking for. But if it hasn't been the 15 minutes, we'll find out if that 1 minute suggestion I read actually works or not. Okay, so you're gonna just go ahead and take the tape off, and the stencil will come off. it did etch it. It's going to be hard to see until it dries a little bit, so we'll go over there and wipe it off here in a second. All right, we'll get all these little pieces off over by the table again. I'm going to leave that for now. I'm just going to give it one little more rub down. Okay. And then we're going to do it on our little blue one here. Now, this one had a more, it's more of a curved glass, which adds a lot of challenge, in my opinion, because it's harder to get the stencil to lay down flat. Yeah, I think this one could have been etched a lot longer. I don't know if it's because of, we'll see it once it dries. I would think that it might be because of the color. You might want to let it sit a little bit more, because it definitely doesn't look like it's got anywhere near as long as the other one there. See if I can find a towel real quick. All right. Of course, towels are never around when you need them. Okay, so it's showing up more as it's drying. So let's bring these both back over to the table so I can pick out this other one a little bit more. Set you down again. Okay. So this one turned out pretty cool. Let me see if I can get my black vinyl shoved in here so you can see it. I don't know if it'll make a big difference. Okay, so you can see it did etch on there. All right, you guys still there? I just had a poor connection and I thought it cut me out, but it looks like we're still going. So I almost got all this picked out while I was waiting for it to reconnect. All right, so let me go back to showing you this one that's done. And I can take your gloves off once all the chemical has been washed away. All right, so you can see that it did etch. Like I said, it is harder to get a smooth surface with these. So you can see in some spots, like right here, it didn't adhere really good, so the glass edge leaked underneath. And that's because this glass is curved, so it's not a flat surface to lay your stencil on, which is what makes it more challenging. I'm sure there's some fancy technique out there to get that to lay better. I'll have to do some more looking. But think about all the possibilities, like with these beer mugs, my goodness. I think, you know, when we did our wedding, we paid from Time Remembered, is that what it's called? Things Remembered, one of those stores in the mall where they do a lot of this etching type stuff. We probably paid $50 a mug for groomsmen's gifts. So these are, I mean, I paid $1 for this. You can do anything you want with the writing. You can put as much writing as you want, as little. Those types of places generally charge you like per word. So this works out really good. The surface is super smooth. It doesn't feel like bumpy or, you know, it doesn't feel like laser engraved or anything like that, but this one turned out really cool as well. So they both say the same thing, 5 o'clock somewhere, or it's 5 o'clock somewhere. Hard to see again. Let me put the black in. Alright. Pump down a little bit more. Alright. So pretty cool. Again, cheap, easy. You just need to be able to have some type of stencil, and then you can really do most anything with it. So we've shown you a vase, a little cocktail glass, and a beer mug. All right, so if you have any questions, let us know. We're more than happy to try to answer the questions for you. If I don't know the answers, I'm always more than willing to go search them out for you. I'm big into a big researcher. Okay, I loved research in college. I missed it a lot, so now I do it in all my crafting. So any questions, let us know. Otherwise, we'll see you guys